Politics is a very interesting game. Last week, I did a video on this platform on how a rattled Musalia Mudavadi was threatening to abandon President Uhuru Kenyatta after he endorsed Raila Odinga in Kisumu. And again, this week, early, I did another video on this platform on how a clever Gideon Moi was positioning himself around Raila Odinga strategically after the president appeared to have endorsed Raila Odinga. Gideon Moi and Musalia Mudavadi are key players in the One Kenya Alliance movement. But they were reading from two different scripts on one particular matter or one particular subject: the president endorsement of Raila Odinga. And indeed, there is tension in One Kenya Alliance movement today because there's a feeling amongst the members. Remember, the One Kenya Alliance movement was formed by Musalia Mudavadi, Kalonzo Musyoka, Moses Wetangula, and Gideon Moi. There's a strong feeling that Gideon Moi is currently leaning more towards Raila Odinga. I want us to go into why there's that tension. But before we do that, let us understand why the One Kenya Alliance was formed. Why do you think it was formed? Personally, I believe that One Kenya Alliance movement was formed for two main reasons. The first reason why it was formed was that these people were trying, there are people around the president who are trying to position Musalia Mudavadi or Kalonzo Musyoka as the preferred presidential candidate. Remember, I've always opined that around the president, there's a group of people who don't want Raila Odinga to succeed the president. And this group was the force behind One Kenya Alliance movement. In fact, when the president was coming to Kisumu, the group really frustrated the president, including using the figures of COVID. Then the second reason why it was formed was to prove a point to Raila Odinga by the former NASA principle that they can actually spoil for him. Remember, by the time it was being formed, there was this talk of a fallout between the president and Raila Odinga. So One Kenya Alliance movement was trying to come as an alternative which the president can actually support. But according to the founders of One Kenya Alliance, it was formed because of two reasons, according to them. The first reason why they formed it was to unify the country. I don't know how they were intending to achieve this. Because if you look at the One Kenya Alliance and its composition, it's basically tribal. There was Gideon Moi, whose party is a bit national. Kalonzo Musyoka, Wiper, is Kamba. Musalia Mudavadi, ANC, is Luya. Ford Kenya of Musalia Mudavadi, of Moses Wetangula, is also Luya. So they wanted to unify the country. The second reason why they formed it, according to them, was to end political hatred. Again, I don't know how they were intending to achieve this. But from all indications, One Kenya Alliance movement has failed. Let me explain to you why it has failed. The four reasons before we go into the tension which is currently in that particular alliance. One Kenya Alliance movement has failed. It has failed because of four reasons. The first reason why it has failed is lack of clear ideology. If I were to ask you today to tell me what One Kenya Alliance movement stands for, you can't tell me. Even my friend Nasa Hao, and I want to challenge him to do a video on this, cannot tell me the ideology of One Kenya Alliance movement. Probably it was just formed to spoil for Raila Odinga. Number two, it has failed because it appears as a tribal entity. However much they were trying to make it national, ultimately it was just appearing as a tribal entity. Apart from Kalonzo, apart from Mudavadi, apart from Weta or Gideon Moi, who else was the face of that outfit? They were unable to bring a third face. If, for example, they had managed to bring, let's say, even Amason Kingi, or maybe Okotobado on board, it would have been a different story. But still, it appeared as a tribal entity. Tribal entities don't really appeal much to Kenyans because Kenyans understand that a tribal entity cannot be taken seriously. The third thing is that they lacked national outlook, almost related to tribal entity. You know, when Uhuru and Ruto formed Jubilee, they made it appear as if it was a big political party. In truth, it was just a tribal grouping of two main tribes, the URP of Kalenjins and the TNA of President Uhuru Kenyatta. But they made it appear as a national party. From the officials, how it was structured. And the fourth reason why it failed is that tribal tag. There was a feeling that it was a project. It was a project of some people around this deep state. And then at some point, it was even being alleged that the guy who was funding the activities was actually Gideon Moi. And Gideon Moi wants to run for the presidency also. So it was basically meant to fail. But after the president endorsement of Raila Odinga in Kisumu, it is tension after tension after tension in one Kenyan Alliance movement. Musalia Mudavadi has threatened to abandon President Uhuru Kenyatta. I don't know, abandoning President Uhuru Kenyatta for what? Moses Wetangula and Kalonzo Musyoka are silent, but again, they're also pulling in different directions. Gideon Moi is there, making moves closer to Raila Odinga. Why do you think this tension is high currently in the One Kenya Alliance movement? The first reason why this tension is Gideon Moi. If you remove Gideon Moi from One Kenya Alliance, what remains of it? Former NASA principles. So Gideon Moi was a big catch for them. Remember, when this alliance was formed, they were very lucky that we had 3 by-elections in this country. There was a by-election in Kabuchai, which they won and celebrated. There was another by-election in Matungu, which they won and celebrated. And then there was another by-election in Machakos. They won. That one, those by-elections gave them the momentum which they actually required. But after that, nothing has moved. Gideon Moi started gravitating towards Raila Odinga. No activity has taken place since that time. And the mere fact that there were people around the deep state who are pushing for this group to counter Raila Odinga, the movement of Gideon Moi towards Raila Odinga is actually complicating the matrix for them. So Gideon Moi's strategic move towards Raila Odinga is the main cause of this alliance. Number 2 is the Building Bridges Initiative process. The question is BBI still active or it is dead? Let me tell you a story a bit. Raila Odinga carried the burden of the Building Bridges Initiative process. Then, the county assemblies passed the Building Bridges Initiative process overwhelmingly. Then President Uhuru Kenyatta, in his own wisdom, decided to credit all these other party leaders with that win, which was a good move. Because the president is keen on supporting Raila Odinga. But one of his biggest worries is where he's going to get the support of canvassers and lawyers should Mudavadi and Kalonzo leave. So the president has also been trying so hard to bring these people together. So it was part of President Uhuru Kenyatta's strategy to use that BBI to bring these guys together. In fact, I'm being told, and I have explained this severally, that at some point the president told these people point blank that, guys, let us support Raila Odinga, then you guys agree amongst you who is going to deputize Raila Odinga and who is going to be the prime minister. So the collapse of the Building Bridges Initiative process has actually slowed down these guys. Because if the Building Bridges Initiative is not going to happen, then it would mean that you're not going to have an expanded executive. So if you're not going to have an expanded executive, it means only one guy amongst them can be a running mate. So we won't have a prime minister, we won't have a deputy prime minister, and we won't have again another deputy prime minister. So which means sharing of the national cake is going to be complex. Beyond that, how will Kalonzo Musyoka convince Kambas that this time around is also going to be the running mate to Raila Odinga again? Of course, if he had expanded the executive, he would have been, for example, chosen as a prime minister. So he can go to his people and tell them, hii kitu tunachukua, I'm going to be the prime minister. Even Musalia Mudavadi. For Musalia Mudavadi to remain relevant in Western Kenya and have maintained this severally, he must be on the ballot in 2022. If he's not on the ballot, then it means he must be a running mate under expanded executive or a prime minister. I think the collapse of the Building Bridges Initiative process is the main cause of friction and tension in the One Kenya Alliance movement. Gideon Moi is a prince. He's comfortable. He will be willing to wait. Kwani 5 years of Raila Odinga's rule, then Ruto out, then he can position himself. I mean, for him, that's okay with him. Because the alternative to that is William Ruto becoming the president. If Ruto becomes the president, then it means Gideon Moi cannot contest for the presidency in the next 10 years. After 10 years, Kenyans again will not be comfortable with another Kalenjin succeeding another Kalenjin. So Gideon Moi is looking at his personal interest, and that interest lies with Raila Odinga's presidency. Number 3, the third reason, who will be the presidential candidate amongst these guys? Because before this, there was the Building Bridges Initiative process, which was bringing them together. And then the BBI was promising expanded executive. Now it's not there. Which means out of the 3 guys or 4 guys, one of them must be the presidential candidate. Moses Wetangula is not a factor there. He's saying for him, he's relaxed. He wants to run for the governor in Bungoma. Gideon Moi, maybe he can be the presidential candidate. He's the guy with the money. What about Moses Wetangula? I mean, what about Musalia Mudavadi? Can he accept to be a running mate to Kalonzo Musyoka? What about Kalonzo Musyoka? Can Kalonzo Musyoka go back to the Kamba nation and tell them that, again, I'm going to be the running mate to Musalia Mudavadi? I don't think it's going to work that way. So that's the other reason why there's tension. Who is likely to be the presidential candidate? The fourth reason why there's tension is the betrayal. Now, I just explained how Musalia Mudavadi was threatening to abandon President Uhuru Kenyatta. He issued a statement. As who? If you're part of an alliance, then it means that a statement should be released jointly. Gideon Moi visited Raila Odinga. Before that, he also visited him in Karen, before the Bondo event. As who? What was the motive of that meeting? In fact, Musalia Mudavadi's response to that meeting was very interesting. That we don't know whether these guys went to negotiate for dowry for their daughters and sons. So there's that element of betrayal amongst the leadership of the One Kenya Alliance. Any signs of betrayal will always create tension. And lastly, I think they also failed to gain the confidence of their voters. When they began, and Kabushaya penned, Matungwa penned, and Machakos senatorial seat happened, they gained a bit of credence. Then after that, 2 other by-elections, they were neutralized, and Kenyans are, who are you guys? Can you explain yourself to us Kenyans? So they've failed to inspire confidence in Kenyans as the best alternative to Raila Odinga and the best alternative to William Samoei Ruto. I don't know what you think, but let me ask you a question. What do you think are Musalia Mudavadi's options if the president is going to endorse Raila Odinga officially? What are his options? Let me read your comments on that. I know for Kalonzo Musyoka, he might just agree again to be Raila Odinga's running mate. For Gideon Moi, he can wait. But what are Musalia Mudavadi's options if the president were to announce today that is officially supporting Raila Odinga for the presidency? Let me read those comments. Thank you guys, and please may you have a good day.